Hi everyone, Matt from Soft Solutions here, today with a very brief but important video on the 3CX Remote Instance Manager. So the Remote Instance Manager with 3CX gives you the ability to set up your end user 3CX instances with centralized management from your partner portal. So this is really handy, especially for remote troubleshooting. It's very simple to set up, and it gives us the ability to have remote monitoring capabilities, remote management abilities as well, for example, restarting services if something's going wrong. And we can also have some data access in there as well, which gives you the ability to do things like delete voicemails, recordings, and call logs. So the instance manager does require that your end user customer is on the Debian edition of 3CX. Of course, the Debian edition seeing a lot of popularity these days, especially with the recent release of a version 16 update that had the new iOS push functionality baked in. That did require for a Windows server to be on Server 2016 or newer, or Windows 10, and a lot of the systems that were still out there were on the likes of Server 2012 R2. So moving to Debian is very simple. Basically, it's a pre-built ISO that you get from your 3CX partner portal that can be deployed, and moving across, all that it takes is taking a backup from your existing 3.6 Windows-based system and then just restoring it in at install time of the Debian edition. So very, very simple, and of course big benefits with Debian, the ability to have automatic updates in there as well, and it does have that less resource overhead. There isn't all the Windows services running in the background or having updates at inconvenient times of day, and so on and so forth. So we've got an example of what the instance manager looks like from our 3CX partner portal, and you can see we've got a few key metrics here. We can see what the current CPU utilization is, and of course all of this very handy for troubleshooting. We can see how much the memory footprint is and how much of the disk space is currently being utilized. We can see that there's a check ability up here that runs from the instance manager that will go ahead and make sure everything is running okay on that remote system. We can see how many services are running, and ideally, of course, we want to make sure that all the services are running. And provided all that passes, we've got an OK status here. We can see how many extensions are set up, whether data access or management has been turned on as well. So let's look at setting this up from 3CX. So this is our live production system that we've currently got on the screen. So of course, important with any new 3CX install, your reseller partner ID needs to be entered. This of course is really handy for the partner program. It's how you get points and move up the rankings. But when you go to activate the instance manager, it will tie that end user 3CX to the reseller ID and reseller partner portal. So let's look at setting this up. You can see we've got our instance manager icon here, and of course we're running the Debian edition. So by default this will be turned off. So you would go into your end user system and click on the allow management. And of course we want to make sure that our assigned reseller is getting access to the system. And then we've got permissions as well. So not all of these are turned on by default. We have the ability to grant remote monitoring capabilities, so we can see what we looked at before around the CPU utilization, the memory footprint, and how much hard disk space is currently being utilized. We can give remote management capabilities here as well, which of course we want to do, and whether or not we've got the ability to access voicemails and call logs and things like this. And that brings up a very good point. When you have the instance manager activated, it does require a couple of outbound ports to be allowed by the firewall. A lot of times there's not a lot of outbound filtering in place unless you've got something like a zero trust architecture. But by having this remote management capability, we do remove the requirement to actually expose the end user 3CX to the internet in the first place, which of course is really fantastic for security. So we also have the ability down here to see what data when we're giving access is actually shared. And it's basically as simple as that. You click OK, it will take a few seconds, and then from the partner portal, we'll be able to see our 3CX instance is been added successfully. And we have some abilities here. So say end user is having trouble, we need to go in and restart services. We've got the ability to do so. You can actually do centralized 3CX updates from here as well, which is really handy. No need to go to the end user site and manually get everything upgraded or connect to VPN or anything like that. We've got some troubleshooting capabilities in here as well. So whether or not we want to start all services, or if it wasn't live in a production system, whether or not we wanted to try out the new 3CX beta. And then we've got some power capabilities as well, where we can come in and have a centrally accessible way to reboot. So we can see our memory footprint here, and we've got our disk space as well. All our services are running and everything's running well. You can see on our current system we do have a update that is available. That's the latest 6A hotfix, which we are in the process of applying. And then we have some centralized details here as well. I won't scroll down too far because our license key's in there. But we can see we've got all these our hardware checks in here, and they're all reporting okay. We can see what our host name is. And that's it. It's very simple, centralized management, centralized troubleshooting capabilities, and the ability to remotely upgrade 3CX systems. Thank you very much for watching, and we look forward to seeing you in the next one.